You see all these smiling faces? Well, I want you to meet this guy. His name's Ken, and I talked about him in the last video, but we're going to focus on his story a little bit more.
I was on a plane to California. I had all the time I'd ever need. Did you even know I was looking for you? I think that I was hiding in between. How long did you wait for me?
Alright, hopefully I can do this with Cassidy putting on the pressure right behind me. And it is right past 7 a.m. So I'd say this is a special edition here on part 2 of the San Diego video, which is dedicated to Ken. So Ken asked us a very simple question of how do you become involved with the type 1 diabetic community? So part 2 of the San Diego video starts in Blair Ryan's home. So she actually works for Tandem and is a type 1 diabetic. So Blair and I met as part of Connected Emotions Adventure Team. So Connected Emotion is a Canadian nonprofit, and we went all the way up to Vancouver Island to go on like a 6-day hike with 13 other type 1 diabetics this summer, and it was absolutely insane. So here's some shots from that.
I love the cold into my warm head in the sun. It's already begun. You are my one. Yeah.
Cassidy's working hard over here. Her and I woke up in Blair's home, and she was actually hosting some other travelers, Santa and Sitka. So if you haven't checked out Santa's Instagram, he's been traveling van life basically for the last like what 4 or 5 months with his adorable dog Sitka, who is like so charming. And from there, Cassie and I, just on diabadass.com, put up an event saying who wants to go hiking, and we had some pretty awesome people show up.
Everybody couldn't make a wrong turn. You waver and slip and you get burned. But I'm here, so don't you worry, 'cause you know I'll be there in a hurry.
Alright, rapid transition, we're getting ready to leave the house. What was cool about the breakfast table, or who showed up for the hike, was that a lot of groups were represented. We had Sheila from the American Diabetes Association, so that's one of the largest nonprofits in the diabetic space. They are diabetes.org. And then we had Kenny and Kayla, who met online and now are dating, and that's really cool because they're both type 1 diabetics. And then we had the Krennic family, which is Kimberly, Caden, and Julia, and we'll talk about all their stories a little bit more. And it's just awesome because, as Ken asked, how do I get involved? These are the people that show up to these awesome events. But right after breakfast, we went hiking, so let's check out that scene.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm part of this group.
Julia, how long have you had type 1 diabetes?
For 5 years.
There.
That's my brother, Caden.
How long has Caden had type 1 diabetes?
Caden, how old are you? 14. 9 years.
Kayla, and I've had type 1 diabetes since November 2006, so I've had it for 11 years now.
Whoa.
And Kenny, I've had it since January of 2005, so 13 years.
January 10th of 2005, which means that Kenny and I have the same anniversary, which is pretty epic.
I get really excited about people's diversity because I think it's a day to celebrate. It's the day that you get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a day to celebrate because we all wouldn't be who we are if we didn't have it. So I think you should just eat cake and drink and do whatever you feel is like the funnest day for you.
There's Erik right now racing.
Cause you know I'll be there in a hurry. I don't go cold into my warm head in the sun.
Your story about their
it's already begun.
There's 7 of us out here right now, and there's 6 type 1 diabetics. Just like, so like I said this the other day when we were at Tandem and Dexcom, that like it is very rare that a type 1 diabetic is part of the in crowd. Like there's a lot of outsider kind of feelings and emotions that are wrapped up with being a T1D. And then we get a cool moment like this where like the only non-type 1 diabetic is a type 1 diabetic mom who's like, every single one of us is a diabadass right here. It's unbelievable.
Alright, you might be watching this and say like, why, how does this story involve Ken? And the point is that you can have kids who have type 1 diabetes, you can have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you get to be touring or having fun with someone, and it's really the people that are motivated and engaged in this community that make it possible for us to connect and thrive with this disease. So after this hike, we went back to Blair's house and Ken picked us up. He loaded everything in the car, we jammed the bikes in there and all of our gear and all that sort of stuff, and Ken took us out to lunch, made sure we got to the train okay, and then waved goodbye. But the thing is, when he said goodbye, I knew that him and I would be talking a lot, texting each other, keeping up to date, and then he would eventually be involved with this community as well, because it really takes a village to manage all the crazy aspects of living with type 1 diabetes. So everyone that showed up in San Diego, thank you so much, and I hope you stay tuned and follow this crazy journey. Alright, peace out everyone.
We just dance, find romance, second chance. We don't need to worry at all.
Like kind of like a funeral, like sad that like this day is when your life changed.
Yeah.
Wow, what Julia gets at as we're walking down to the beach is this big, giant idea that when you are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, you move from having a normal functioning body into a body that no longer functions normally. And so for her, she sees that as a marker similar to a funeral. But on the other side of that is hours that we went and spent on the beach together as a group of type 1 diabetics. On the other side of that is a diabetes online community that is huge and thriving and where you can get answers. On the other side of that is friendship and support. Also on the other side of that is frustration and terror dealing with insurance companies and doctors' offices. On the other side of that is being forced into working jobs you don't like because you need healthcare coverage. Whatever you feel, those emotions are yours to have because this disease is all-encompassing. It will quite literally top you high and drag you low through happiness and joy and pain and sadness. It will make you respect yourself, and it'll also make you question yourself constantly. So, how do you celebrate your diaversary? Do you believe in celebrating your diaversary? That's up to you.